Okay.
Hi,
Oh,
everyone.
look. Oh, my God. That's what I look like? Forget it. I'm off.
Hey, George.
Hi, where are you? I can't see any.
Oh, where am I? Hold on.
George, you can't see yet?
I can see myself. I look about 100 years old.
You can switch to gallery view so that you can see everybody in the top right corner.
Can I also upload a picture of someone else instead of myself?
No.
Can we see?
Hey, Neil, where are you? Oh, there. Hi, Nadia. How are you?
He's coming.
Ruth, is that, can you?
George is there.
Hey, Ruth.
Holy cow, look at that beard. Wow. Man, you've aged.
It's the COVID-19.
Oh, my God.
COVID-19 beard.
Hey, Sean, you gonna put your video on? Or you want to stay?
Okay, so how do I show where everybody is?
At the top, if you go to gallery view, it will say switch to gallery view instead
Oh,
of
yeah.
right
Oh,
now,
there
you
we go.
switch to active speaker.
Better.
Okay, I think what we'll do just to start is I think I'm just gonna welcome you, and then I'm gonna do you want to? There's not too many of us. Do you want? I'm just gonna mute everybody, let Neil talk, and then we can have a chat after.
Sure.
What happened was Neil and I were talking the other day, and he said he was inundated and getting calls about this particular subject. So we thought we'd throw it out there and see how many people wanted to learn about it. So I am just going to mute everybody, and then at that same time, I'm going to hand it over to you, Neil, so you can tell us all about.
Are you recording this? Yeah.
It's recording, yes.
Okay, great.
Neil's not on camera.
Yeah, he's there.
Oh,
No, they're not there right now.
I just see a blank screen.
Oh, I see him.
No, they're just left the screen.
Okay. I've muted myself now. Neil, are you there?
There you are.
Okay.
Go ahead, Neil.
You got a bad connection.
Yeah, Neil looks like it would look like he was talking.
Some
but
notes so I wouldn't forget everything.
He's catatonic.
He's frozen.
Hey, Neil.
Can everybody see me and hear me?
Oh, this is backwards for darn sake. No, you keep breaking up.
We can't hear you, Neil.
Is that?
Hi, Ruth.
Hello.
How's it going?
Okay, can you hear me now, Ruth?
Perfectly. Well, we could a minute ago.
Come on, Neil.
Hey, there's Joe.
Hey, Frankie.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well.
I got my phone. I got my phones on hold right now.
Oh, there's Natalie. There's Sean. Isn't this fun?
Oh yeah.
So far, would be great if we could hear Neil.
Hi, everyone. My name is George Gonzalez. I'm a friend of Neil's. I'm an agent with Royal LePage. How are you guys today?
Great, thank you.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
George.
I have it on good authority and good news, not good authority and good news, but I mean bad news, that we should all watch this press conference at noon today. It's supposed to be real a real eye popper.
Impactful.
Apparently, yeah. I have friends that work in Canadian intelligence in the Army, and they're saying that they may be enforcing some pretty serious stuff in the next maybe week or so. It's not looking too good. It's kind of scary, actually.
Well, everybody's okay as long as they don't run around and organize baseball games and stuff like that, backyard parties.
Oh, there we go.
Frank, you're ready for Christmas.
Thanks.
I
Didn't like
actually
the
think
comment.
I was looking at a picture of the group of pub group at Santa Claus the other day.
I should go get my Santa hat.
Okay, hey, hey, everybody.
Hi, Neil.
Hey, I'm trying to call in. I'm using Nadia's phone right now.
Are you calling in from not? Look, it looks so good, dear.
Thank you.
Okay, go
Hi,
ahead.
Natalie.
So I can't see myself. Sorry, guys. I guess I got to pay my internet bill. I thought that they were deferring those payments.
No, just get a better package.
All right.
We
I
thought you
can't
were
see.
calling from India.
Hey, that's racist. That's got to be Joe then. Okay.
All right, so we're going to start again and try it again. Neil, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, of course.
Where's
I
Bill?
can't
We need
see
a copy.
anybody. I can't see myself right now, but I'm just going to talk into this empty screen, and if anything's wrong, just let me know. So it was, for those who don't know me, I'm Neil Pahuja. I'm from Lotus Loans and Mortgages. I'm the mortgage broker. I've been in business for the last 20 years. Never experienced anything as challenging as COVID-19 though. So because of the challenging situation we're in right now, on March 17th, Canada's largest banks announced that they would provide customers with what they're calling a flexible solution, and obviously to help people through the crisis. They are looking at everybody's situation on a case-to-case basis, but you could potentially obtain a 6-month mortgage deferral. Definitely welcome news for anybody who's lost their job or who's been laid off, or worst case scenario obviously is if they've actually contracted COVID-19. So, what is the deferral? It's an arrangement between the borrower and the lender to suspend mortgage payments for an agreed upon temporary time. It is not a forgiveness program. You'd be surprised how many people think that they're getting free mortgage payments for the next 6 months. So deferral does not equal forgiveness. It means that the principal and interest is accumulating even through the time that the mortgage is deferred. Now, how does the process work? I've done this personally, and what you have to do is you simply call your lender. Be prepared to be on hold for about 3 hours. They're going to ask you questions about how COVID adversely affects you. Computer's on.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm getting a bit of feedback. Just give me a second. Okay, so the bank is going to ask you how COVID-19 has adversely affected you. So be prepared to answer those questions. You don't really have to provide any proof. It's just a few questions that they're asking. It's a pretty simple format, actually. It's difficult to get through, but after you finally get through and you answer their questions, the process is pretty smooth. Now, I went through a screening process. I held for 3 hours. I got somebody, they asked me the screening questions, and then somebody called me back 10 days later to confirm that the process was complete. So there is a bit of lag time. So let's say you have a mortgage payment due in 5 days from now, and you're calling today, don't expect that next payment due in 5 days to be deferred. It will be the payment after that. There are some smaller institutions that are not granting 6 months. They're more doing 3 months. So it's not 6 months guaranteed, although the big six are doing 6 months. Also, if you have investment properties and the tenants can't pay, that's a great reason to defer your payments. Almost all institutions have now adopted deferred payments on rental properties as well as owner-occupied properties. That wasn't the case initially. A lot of institutions initially were only deferring on owner-occupied properties. So if you have been turned down on your rental property, call back your bank again and see if they'll now defer on your rental property. Some banks have limits of only three properties that they'll defer. So again, it's situation to situation. What else? So what can you expect at the end of the 6 month deferral? When things get back to normal. So remember, because you're deferring your mortgage payments, your mortgage amount is actually going to be higher after your deferral. So how are you going to catch up on those mortgage payments? Every bank has a variation on how they're doing this, but the most popular seems to be that they're going to adjust your payments at the end of the term or at the end of the 6 month deferral. So that means obviously your payments are going to go up, and the interest that you've missed on the mortgage is going to be added on. So just a very simplistic example would be, let's say you have a mortgage of $500,000. Your monthly payments are $2,000 a month, 1,000 of interest, 1,000 of principal, let's say. Over 6 months, that means you're deferring $12,000 in payments. So once that mortgage deferral is over, you owe $512,000. So the mortgage balance has gone up from 500 to 512,000. What will happen with your monthly payments? They will go up, I'd like to say, in an insignificant fashion. $12,000 added to your mortgage amount, amortized over 20 or 25 years, does not significantly change your mortgage payment amount. So I'm not saying to do it, to defer your mortgage if you don't need to, because in the end, you're somewhat paying interest on interest, because interest is accumulating on the deferred while the deferral is going on. And then once the mortgage kicks back in, remember you owe $512,000. That $12,000 is amortized over 20 or 25 years or 30 years. So you would only want to do it if you need to. Yes.
Shouldn't it be 506,000? Because didn't you say the example was 1,000 was principal and 1,000 was interest?
Yeah.
Or was it
deferring
2,000 interest?
No, 1,000 interest, 1,000 principal. You're deferring the entire mortgage payment, though.
No, I can appreciate that, but it's the interest portion that would be tacked on to what your principal amount would be, wouldn't it?
Yes, when you put it that way, you're right. Yes.
Yeah, because you really owe a 506,000 is your mortgage, not 512.
You got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want the presentation, Joe?
No, Jacob. All these you taking math and economics as paying today.
You don't have your abacus out?
Yeah.
Hey,
damn
Neil.
freaking right.
Neil.
Yes.
In regards to how the banks are dealing with this, if it's just a series of questions, you can answer them whatever way you want, and they're going to grant it.
Is that Frank?
Yeah, it's Frank.
Yes. Frank, I can't see anybody.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, it's true. Again, I mean, the program is meant for people who are being affected by the crisis, but yes, Frank, you're right. Like I said, it's a very simple screening process for now, and they just ask, and that's why I mentioned that they're not asking for proof.
Okay. Yeah, Neil, just to let you know what's happening with us, Because we rent our commercial property here, the landlord has split for our month of April that was up, they've split it over a 6-month period. So instead of paying, if it was 12 grand, we're paying $2,000 per month for extra over a 6-month period.
So what's
And
the
it's
plan
going on-
for May then, Joe? You'll
Well,
take it month
May,
by month?
if we're still in the same position,
Yeah.
they're going to do the same thing. So I'll owe $2 grand, and then the following month I'm going to owe $4,000 because
Okay.
they're just splitting the payment over a 6-month period.
And that's for both basic rent and TMI?
Yeah,
Both?
yeah, everything. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So because
So,
the
Joe-
property taxes is in there as well.
Got it. Now, Joe and anybody else in a commercial situation, if you have a commercial mortgage or a commercial loan, the banks are also deferring on those payments. Now, on the commercial side, they're not in principal, they're only deferring interest as per my own experience.
Yeah.
Okay. So what else? Let's talk about deferring and what you can defer for a minute. So you can defer we talked about deferring your mortgage payments. I just touched on deferring commercial loans and commercial mortgages. On the commercial side, because there's a lot less people in that market, I got my answer in about 2 days. And they wouldn't defer the principal, but they deferred the interest, which is definitely helpful in my particular situation. For your personal utility bills, you can contact your utility companies, and they're deferring on a month-to-month basis. Depending on which city your residence is in or your property, whether it's commercial, investment, residential, or owner-occupied, you can call your city, and they'll also defer your property taxes. So talking about deferral, I'm going to move on to a bit of budgeting. You should definitely at this time, if your income has been affected, look at your current spending habits. It's a good time to make a distinction between what's discretionary and what isn't. What you have to pay for and what you can do without. So, like we've canceled a couple of cable options that we have. I think we were paying something monthly for a massage service. We've canceled that. Please don't comment on that, Joe. I know what you're thinking. But we physically went through our personal accounts and all our business accounts to see what we could defer. There's some marketing, some optimization that I'm doing. I convinced that supplier to charge me 15% less. So I'm still going, he's still doing the marketing, but he understands our situation and he's knocked off 15% of the price. We looked through our life insurance and our health insurance policies, and we saw what we could do with those. Even our car insurance, we looked at that, and we've saved, I think, on every single policy here and there. It's not a ton of 15%, but when it's 50% from every supplier, it starts to add up and it helps with cash flow. So make sure that you're doing that, especially if you're in a situation where your business income is down or whatever income is down. This is a time to look at your budget and see what cash you can save. And remember, if you've deferred your mortgage payments and you have that extra cash flow, that is not just frivolous spending money. That should be utilized for good, not evil. Pay some of your credit card debt with that. What else?
Well, the real reason we can't see Neil is because he can't get to his hairdresser, and he's gray as hell. And all the money you're saving on there, Neil, man, you could put a deposit on your next resident.
A lot of people are talking about credit scores. There's a lot of confusion about whether deferral will affect the credit bureau. Hey, my wife is asking, can anybody see me, by the way?
No.
No.
No. Wow.
But you sound good.
All right. I don't know why. Maybe it's good they can't see me. Maybe there's like an ugly screen on this. It's screening. Yeah. So while Nadia takes the phone away from me and tries to get me up there visually, I guess one other topic that's been popular.
Oh, we lost you, Neil.
Am I back?
Yep.
Okay. So another topic that's been really popular right now is in regards to credit scores. Is it going to impact your credit? Has said, I'm going to read what they've written. In the event that the data furnisher payment deferral program available to its customers to opt out of making monthly payments during the pandemic, Equifax's expectation is that the data furnisher would take actions on the system to ensure that it doesn't report any derogatory or missed payment information to the bureaus. So,
Driving safe mode, that's why.
what if you push leave? Oh, never mind. Okay. I don't know, Google it. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not getting it. You don't get a straight answer from. Okay. Push OK. Right.
Yay!
Hey, there you are, Neil.
All right. I don't know if that's good or bad. So there doesn't seem to be like a straight answer from Equifax right now, or any lender. Although the lenders are, if you talk to a lender right now and you ask, if this is going to affect your credit score, basically you're getting an answer that is something like, well, it's logical that it will not affect your credit score. So, we all hope that Equifax is going to do its job. I know you guys aren't in the credit industry, but they don't always do their job properly. And there's lots of mistakes on bureaus. If you have a service right now where you can see your credit score, then be mindful of that service, review it every month, and make sure that your credit isn't being hit in a derogatory fashion. In fact, when you make the mortgage deferral, what I did was I asked for the bank rep's name and number. I wrote down, the time that this all went through. I've asked them for proof of this in writing, which of course they didn't give me right away, but it's supposed to be emailed me. And that proof is something that I could use in case Equifax does show that any delinquency or derogatory payments.
Neil,
Yes.
you were saying before that you have to make sure you talk to them, and this might take time. I know that a lot of people, I've been talking to people who thought that they could just stop paying and it would be done automatically.
No.
That, if they stop paying, that is going to affect their credit score, right?
Oh yeah, yes. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Ruth, you mean stop paying without permission will
Yes.
definitely affect their payments. Yes.
Yeah, I had someone call and say, "Oh, Doug Ford said we could just defer it," and they didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Call.
Good old Doug.
And even in the case where you had the where you said if it's not going to be done for 10 days or whatever, and your mortgage is coming up, in that case, might it be a good thing for you to go on the website and maybe try to do the skip a payment? Like some of the websites have it right on there. So that way you can be sure.
Even the skip a payment isn't usually instantaneous though. So I would definitely be careful about, be mindful of when your next payment is so that you can do this on time. And if you don't need it today because you're still working and you get laid off in, let's say, 3 weeks from now, the programs are supposedly open until June. So you still have time. And again, I got to stress, I mean, I've got a client that's a teacher and one that works for a government, and they want to go into this program and they don't need to, just to build a nest egg, and I'm trying to advise them not to do this. So only go into this program if it's needed and you're not gainfully employed currently. Does anybody have any questions? I'm not sure if, I think I've covered a lot, or I've covered all my notes. Is there any questions that are coming in, Ruth? Not about my beard?
No.
About...
No. No question.
Okay.
I just, you know, if somebody thinks of them, I know that I had a bunch of other questions here, like, do you know anything, just one of the questions someone had asked me is if they could defer credit card payments. Do you know anything about that?
I know a few institutions are allowing that. And again, you have to call in and ask for permission. So that is definitely possible.
I would argue, or not argue, but I would suggest the credit cards would be the last thing that people should defer. The idea, I know you mentioned about the not going into the program, but I think everybody is adversely affected by this, whether they are working or not. And a lot of people live up to the level of their income, and a lot of people's income is based on overtime and extra time, which has obviously been cut. So my suggestion would be to look at the individual situation, and if you can defer your mortgage payments and apply that to other debt, you know, in a lot of cases, people are holding a serious amount of debt.
And that's an interesting take on that. With the rates so low right now, Frank, if you're deferring your mortgage payments, you're essentially, you know, using good interest against bad interest. So that, what a neat concept.
Yep. And from the standpoint of, again, you know, Neil, you know, we share a client who this would massively benefit in a sense. That being said, that's an opportunity. The other opportunity for people is to talk to their financial advisor and see, in fact, how these deferrals will, in fact, affect them long term. So, you know, if you add $12,000 to your capital or to your principal, you know, how is that going to affect your long term plans? You know, from the standpoint of a financial plan or retirement planning and so forth. And, you know, we have the tools to be able to show people that. So it is a good opportunity for people to talk to their financial advisor and work.
And I know a financial advisor, so
me too.
I can refer them. Yeah.
Me too.
Plug yourself, Frank. Say who you are. I have a question here in the chat, and it says, sorry, but I missed the first minutes because this is my first chat on Zoom. Well, welcome. Do we just call the lender to defer the payment?
That's correct. You call the lender to defer the payment. If you're having a hard time getting a hold of somebody or you don't have 3 hours, go online. Almost all lenders have an online application. The only thing about going online, I'm hearing that process is slightly longer. So you're going to get a call back from the lender. You're going to have a couple of screening questions, and then they're most likely going to approve you for the mortgage deferral.
One of the things that I heard today, I guess it was Patricia Lovett Reed, is that her right name? Yep. She said that they've had over 500,000 applications for deferrals already.
It's crazy.
So everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
We're certainly in unprecedented times.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm spending a lot of time on the phone and trying to do as many Zoom meetings as possible. If any of you have anybody who has any questions, there's a lot of questions regarding, you know, my side of the business and what is happening. Please don't hesitate to pass those people along, and I will gladly answer, whether they're my clients or not, any questions with regards to, you know, what my feelings are about the markets and things in general. I think a lot of the things you indicated, Neil, were really important in the fact that, you know, talking to all of your, you know, lenders or people that vendors, I guess, and suppliers that you spend money with, is that, you know, everybody is pretty compassionate at this point. And I think that is going to ripple throughout the economy. And it's not going to help earnings, you know, in the long run, because in my mind, these people that are being compassionate reduce their margins in order to make life better for the general population. So I think that, you know, when people are looking at their portfolios down the road and they're seeing the erosion of value, it's not an actual erosion of capital as long as they remain and stick with the program. This doesn't affect people's long-term retirement plans or anything. This is going to be, 10 years from now, it'll be remembered as a horrible blip, but everything will be okay.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
Oh, it will be. I mean, we've had not in this vein, but we've had things happen before, whether it be my first year in real estate, when I was in real estate, probably Ruth's first or second year, we saw the meltdown in the markets, and the markets plummeted, in one day as much as they did over the course of almost the whole period of time that the markets melted down this time. And there is some rebounding and jockeying. Certainly bad companies will not survive, but most of the good companies that we own will be very, very good. I sound like somebody from the south. Very good.
Just one more thing on the mortgage front right now. Anybody who's making an application who's already been laid off is not going to get a mortgage right now, even if they're due to come back soon. The banks have just sort of changed policy on that. And in fact, we're getting policy changes almost every 2 days in terms of things they're taking away. They're starting to take away specialty programs, and they're starting to really scrutinize what industry you're in. So if you're in a non-essential industry, they want to see how you're going to make the mortgage payments going forward. So we've had a lot of refinances on the go right now that have been turned down. If you're planning to do some financing, do it sooner rather than later, because it's only going to get more conservative from here.
Neil?
Yeah.
Question with regards to financing. If somebody's bought a home, are the banks still doing sort of that pre-closing check?
So if you have a firm commitment, meaning that they've already waived the conditions, they're not going to do the pre-closing check. But if your deal is conditional, they are definitely going to do the pre-closing check. And they're, like I said, they're scrutinizing much more than they used to be. So if my client is working today and we put an application in today and the deal doesn't close for a month, about 29 days from now, they potentially could call that employer again just to verify that they're still there.
Okay.
So,
also, Neil, I also heard that they wouldn't be lending you the money, wouldn't let you defer the payment if you were in the first 6 months.
6 months, that's right. Yeah. So two reasons they're going to decline you for the deferral is if the mortgage is within 6 months of its origination, or if you're or if you've made previous late payments on your mortgage.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. It's all temporary, though.
Yeah, it is, hopefully.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any questions?
I'm going to add also, I think Neil would agree that if, even if something shows up on your credit bureau and you went through all the proper channels by contacting your lenders and indicating that you needed to miss payments, I would argue that somewhere down the road, a lot of this stuff will be mitigated when there's more time.
Yeah.
So,
agreed. I just want everybody to be aware that they should ask their lender for proof that they've done this, because that piece of paper will help you correct anything from Equifax at a later date. Equifax is not the easiest company to deal with, and the more proof you have in your hands, the easier that becomes.
awesome session.
Yeah.
Sounds good, guys.
All right, we should do this again.
Okay. Everyone have a good day.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I did record it, so I will send it out to anybody if you want to hear. And if anybody has any other things that they'd like us to talk about, if someone has suggestions, please feel free to send them off to me, and we'll see if we can set up another Zoom meeting.
Yeah, Ruth, I think we should definitely get involved with Glenn for the business owners with these, what the government is proposing. So,
yeah, I thought Glenn and maybe Elliot on that as well. I did speak to Glenn yesterday, so I will see if I can set something up with Glenn.
That would be great. Okay, guys, have a great day.
All
Bye,
right.
everybody.
Yeah.
Bye now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Hi, Ruth. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, how you doing? Excellent, thank you. Yep. You got it.